Hey, what's up YouTube? Mo here. Today I want to talk to you guys about flash photography. So I really wanted to get into flash photography a couple of months back. I just didn't know how to. I only had the on-camera flash and I never got good results, so I was always afraid to try it out. But lately I've been really researching flash photography. I wanted to get better at it, and I found out there's really two different types of flash photography. There's the one that you can get like a manual flash photography, or you can get like a TTL, the flash itself. So with the TTL flash, TTL stands for talk to lens, or talk to the lens. The camera is talking to the flash, letting it know how much output to give. Now the other option is manual, fully manual. So you can control how much output you want to put, and it goes from 1:1, which is the highest output, all the way down to 1:128, which is the lowest output. Now, being that I mainly shoot manual myself, I never use any of the automatic modes. I don't use the AV or just regular automatic or anything like that. I decided to go with the manual setting because, again, I want to learn flash photography. I don't want the machine to do it for me. I don't like anything to do anything for me. I like to do it myself. That way I learn better. This is why I shoot manual all the time. So I researched all these different options on Amazon. I found that flashes really range from 25 all the way to 500. I was not going to spend $500 on a flash, especially because I'm just like, just starting and learning about it. So I did not also want to spend $25 on a piece of junk that was gonna like go bad after like a week or so. So I really found two options that I really like: the Neewer TT560 and the Amazon Basic. Now I don't mind the Amazon Basic brand because my camera bag is actually an Amazon Basic brand, and I've been using that for the past 7 months and I have had zero complaints. I actually really like it. It was only like $25. Now the difference between the Neewer and the Amazon Basic brand is that the Neewer had a couple of extra buttons and it had more reviews. The Neewer had about 2,800 reviews of 4.5 stars, and the Amazon Basic had also 4.5 stars, but out of only 300 reviews. So I kind of went with this one. Surprisingly, I could not find any videos on the Neewer version on YouTube, but I did find plenty of videos on the Amazon Basic one, and it was all promising. So I decided to actually give this one a review. So before we get into the actual review and the usage of the flash, I wanted to give you guys the unboxing and the first impressions. So let's get started. Alright, so the package came in this regular Amazon package. So this is the TT560 box. Unfortunately, my box came kind of damaged. There was like a little dent on it for some odd reason. And the weird thing is the box had like a whole bunch of dust on top, like it was sitting on a shelf for a long time. But when I opened it up on the inside, everything was fine. So, but it is what it is. So inside the box, you have a black bag. And then there's another box with some documents and a stand for the flash. There's a little note in there about recycling this flash if you plan on throwing it out. So again, this is the manual. So really what actually comes in the box is just the stand, and the bottom of the stand has a 1/4-inch mount so that you can maybe hook it up to a tripod or a light that takes the 1/4-inch. The bag and the actual flash. That's it. The rest is just paper and documents and stickers and whatnot. The way you power this flash is with 4 AA batteries. I've already put the batteries inside because I obviously tried it out before. I was way too excited when that box came in the mail. The flash actually rotates horizontally 360 degrees, which is fantastic, and rotates vertically 90 degrees forward and backwards. So you can pretty much rotate this thing in any directions that you wish. And of course it comes with those very pleasing stickers that you get to peel off. Now when it comes to actual buttons on the flash, it is really simple. You get the on and off button, so you're not actually clicking anything. It's a switch that goes from left to on, right to off. And then you have 4 more buttons: 1 for power down, 1 for power up, 1 for mode, and 1 for test. So I just click the test button to see how it works. It also comes with a diffuser and a white card. So the thing about the power is that it doesn't actually indicate how much power you're outputting, but just know that the one all the way on the right, which is the largest blue light, that's the 1/1. The one all the way on the left is 1/128, and every time you move one spot, you lose half a stop. So it's 1/1, and then 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, so on and so forth, all the way till you get to 1/128. So you can shoot actually in a lot of different ways. You can point the flash straight forward, which is not recommended, and shoot at a 90-degree angles forward. You can shoot at 45-degree angle forward. You can shoot at 90-degree angle to the right, or 45-degree to the left, again 90 or 45-degree. Or the recommended method is to the back, 45-degree. Obviously you shouldn't do back 90 degrees because that would just hit your forehead. So now I'm gonna just test out the flash. There's literally nothing that you need to do because this is like a manual flash. It communicates with your camera through like a little connector at the bottom of the flash that is actually metal. So let me talk to you about the 3 modes. You have the M, S1, S2. M is manual, S1 is slave 1, S2 is slave 2. You put the flash in manual if it's mounted on top of your camera and you're just firing away. Slave 1 and slave 2 works a little bit differently. It's a little tricky. So in the front of your flash, you have this little red thing, and that is like an infrared sensor. It senses when other flashes are fired off, and then it fires as well. So if you don't have a trigger because you don't want to buy one and you're still getting into flash photography like myself, and you just want to fire the flash externally, like from across the room for example, you can actually use your on-camera flash to trigger this flash that you just bought using either the S1 or the S2 modes. The difference is when you're using when the S1 mode, the second the flash sees another flash, it fires off. The S2 mode doesn't fire off after the first flash, it fires off after the second flash. The reason it does this is because sometimes when you're actually holding your camera and you have the on-camera flash and you're clicking the shutter button to focus, you kind of see the flash goes off once to so your camera can assess the exposure, and then it actually fires off a second time. So what you're seeing now is both my flash and the external flash firing at the same exact time. And the really neat thing about this flash is that it comes with its own stand, so you can really put it behind a subject, on the side of the subject, really far away from you, like half across the room, and use your on-camera flash and kind of hide it, just like I did right now. I put my hand over the flash and it was still able to fire the flash because of that infrared sensor. So in theory, you can really put a piece of paper on top of your on-camera flash so that it can only fire from the sides. It can trigger the flash, but it will not really affect the exposure of your actual picture. So that was the unboxing, and now I actually want to try this flash out both indoors and outdoors. Again, I'm no expert here by any means on flash photography. Like I said, I'm learning myself, but maybe you're also learning. This is why you're looking at the cheaper versions, and maybe we could learn together. So let's get started. Alright, so I got a chance to shoot with the flash a little bit to kind of see what it looks like, and I'm going to show you the results here. Now, I didn't even edit these pictures yet, and I don't plan on editing them. I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like. So a flash is great because, one, you get to expose for the background instead of exposing for your models and then lighting your models with the flash. What that will allow you to do is get a good exposure on your background instead of good exposure on your model and then blowing out the background or making it too dark. So for this example, I tried to expose for the background. It was already getting a little dark. It was like 7 p.m. So I tried to expose the best I could to the background, but you see my model is a little dark and you have all this noise. I'm at ISO 2000 in order to get this shot, and there's already a lot of noise. Now here's the one with the flash. You see the background, it's still exposed the same way. It's a little bit brighter on the one without the flash, but the one with the flash, my model is much better. And you see the noise, if you go 1:1 here versus here, there's a lot less noise with the one that's with the flash. And to be honest with you, it's a little bit sharper. So if I even zoom in 3:1, I know this is like a really noisy at 2000 ISO versus the 3:1 here. This is completely useless. I cannot use this image whatsoever, even if I do bring up the shadows. This one, without any editing whatsoever, is a lot more sharper and a lot less noise, even though they're both at 2000 ISO. The next one, this one was indoors. This is just with no light whatsoever, just whatever light that was in the room. You see you get some shadows behind him, and his face doesn't look as well lit as this one over here. You see the light is much softer on his forehead, on his face, and this is with the flash. Again, without the flash, with the flash kind of killed the whatever light that we had in the room, which was regular fluorescent light. But the only difference is, again, this is unedited on the same exact day. His face is really yellow here from whatever light we have in the living room versus his face here with the flashlight. This one is at 2000 ISO again to bring it to that exposure versus this one where I was able to use 100 ISO, and again it was really well exposed. So again, let's zoom in 3:1. Kind of see the details in the eye. You could really see me right here. It's really sharp. This is 3:1 versus this one. A whole lot of noise, and it is not even sharp at all. Again, I'm using the same exact camera, same exact lens. I'm just adding the flash. You can really see how much more better your images can get once you add the proper lighting, so your images are properly exposed. Now, this one here, I really like because I was able to point the flash to the top left corner of the room, which then the light came down on his face to light up only one side, gave it like a really creative look. And if you really zoom into his eye, you can really see the corner of the room and where the light was coming from. And here's the flash. You can really see the shape of the light going into the corner and hitting his eye again. Here's the desk that I'm sitting on right now. Again, you would not be able to do this with just a regular on-camera flash or with because you can't direct it to the corner, or you can't do it just with the camera by itself because the room is not lit well enough. Here's another example. And what I really like about the flash is that the light that it gives off once you bounce it is really soft. It's not really that harsh. Even when you have some shadows, they're not really harsh shadows. You see, it kind of fades off slowly. Finally, I took a picture of this doll. If you zoom in on the eye, you see just the window light, that's it, and a whole lot of noise. Versus this one with the flash, you can kind of see the flash right there in the center and a lot less noise. So even with the dolls, it kind of helps out a little bit if you're doing some product photography. All in all, I really recommend the Speedlite. For $30, it's an amazing thing to start with. So you can get this, learn all the basics of flash photography. And I wouldn't say you need to replace it or anything. You can also keep it as a backup flash or a secondary flash. I wouldn't recommend taking these to weddings or whatnot because I don't know how they do, and events are that long. I don't know how long the battery lasts. And one like major negative that I have with this thing is that it doesn't tell you how many percentages on the battery. So you could be shooting and then it can just die instantly. You really don't know. There's no indication that tells you how much battery life you have left. So you would have to walk around with batteries at all times, just in case, especially if you're shooting an event like that. For the output, I found that it was really consistent. So whether you were shooting at the lowest setting every single time, you would get the same exact output. So it's not like one time it will be brighter than the next when you're in manual mode. Recycling time. When you're at the highest setting, you do have to wait about 2 to 3 seconds between every flash. Not always. Sometimes actually you would only wait like 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds, and then another time you have to wait 2 seconds, 3 seconds. That's only when you're on 1:1, which is the highest setting. But if you're somewhere in the middle or towards the lower end, there's pretty much no recycle time. I was able to get those shots one after the other without waiting at all. All in all, I really enjoyed using this flash. I think I'm going to keep it. And yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. If you want to check it out, I'm going to leave it in the description. And that's it. Until next time, peace!